Professor Benjamin Goold teaches criminal law, criminology, and torts at the Allard School of Law. His major research interests include privacy rights, the use of surveillance technologies by police and intelligence communities, and the rhetoric and language of human rights. Professor Goold has served as an independent advisor to the UK government and to a major House of Lords inquiry into surveillance and data collection in Britain. He is currently a member of the BC Information and Privacy Commissioner's External Advisory Board.
If you ask me to sort of identify the bit I really love about my work, there's probably two. One is I like thinking about theory. I like thinking about how the underlying structures of things work. I use the analogy with my students about looking under the hood of a car. Like it's not enough to drive the car, I actually want to know how the engine works. The other thing is I like talking to people, and so I've done a lot of empirical research in my career. I've done a lot of hanging around in police stations or working with government officials on how they're developing policy or advising government. And partly that means having to think about the practical implications of what you do. It's all very well to theorize, but eventually in law somebody actually has to turn that into something that works in practice for real people. And so I like having the other end of it. One of the things my students often ask me is there a sort of a motto or some sort of idea that sort of animates you? And one of the things I always say to them is don't defer. Play the argument, not the person. It's the argument that matters, not who said it. Or play the argument, not the place. It's the argument that matters, not the court that it came out of. And if you remember that, then it forces you to think about is this a good argument or not, and not be distracted by who said it and where it came from.
So Ben combines generosity. He always thinks about how he can expand the circle of his research and his study, how he can be more inclusive, with really deep commitment to rigour in his research, in his teaching, in how he approaches questions in the faculty.
One of the more satisfying things about the job is when you discover, often long after teaching somebody, that it actually made an impact on them. So recently I had an email from a student who's clerking with a court saying, I didn't really understand what you were talking about the way judges think about things, and I didn't really understand when we were in class about why you want to theorize it in this way, and now that I'm doing it, I get it. Like I understand why you might look at it this way, and it's really helped me to understand what I'm doing in terms of working with judges and how they think about things. So you have these moments where students give you feedback often after they're in their careers to say they really appreciated the teaching and it helped them to understand the world around them. So that's an enormously satisfying part of what we do.